Today's anime review, Star Wars Visions, the episodic short series from various anime studios. Subscribe for daily spoiler-free anime reviews covering series on Fridays and movies or OVAs the rest of the week. I grew up loving Star Wars, but I fell out of it with the prequels. However, I've always thought that Star Wars would have made a much better anime series than Hollywood movie franchise. It looks like my wishes have finally been granted in the form of Star Wars Visions. These 9 episodes were produced by famous anime studios such as Trigger, Kinema Citrus, Production IG, and Science Saru, but I've come to appreciate the individual talents more than the studios themselves. Star Wars Visions would be a prime example of why, considering 7 of 9 of these episodes are the director's directorial debut. The 2 recognizable directors are Hiroyuki Imaishi, director of Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, who directed episode 3, also Kenji Kamiyama, who directed both seasons of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, and Moribito, who directed episode 5. Of course, lack of experience doesn't necessarily mean their work will be bad. Still, many of these shorts lack depth comparable to other great anime shorts I've reviewed, such as House of Tiny Cubes, Shashinkan, or Otona Joshi no Anime Time. What I mean is, these are the type of anime that I'd spoil by reading their synopsis because there's little narrative value beyond their surface level. Even then, much of the exposition is info dumped by having characters convey redundant information to each other for the audience's sake. However, I'm not trying to paint the picture that these anime are bad, just that most of the value isn't in their narrative despite their attempts. In my opinion, the main appeal of these shorts will be their atmosphere, action, and animation. Not all of these shorts are action-oriented. However, the ones that are were very exciting and beautifully animated. I think the over-the-top anime fights and force powers go hand in hand, which is a prime example of why people love watching action anime. In terms of atmosphere, they paid a great attention to detail to Star Wars movies and lore. Although these movies aren't connected to the canon universe other than Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett, the sounds, locations, ships, and clothing feel ripped straight out of the official universe, but with an anime flair. Ironically, my favorite episode was number 1, directed by Takanobu Mizuno. While it's basically just a lightsaber battle, its aesthetics raised it to a whole other level, becoming one of my most memorable samurai experiences in anime. It was inspired by old Akira Kurosawa movies, mainly Yojimbo, where a Ronin overlooks a troubled town and decides to get involved. It's black and white, the film grain and picture effects are there, and even his mannerisms mimic Toshiro Mifune. If you're also a fan of anime or traditional Japanese clothing, architecture, or movies, this alone adds many levels of enjoyment. The 2 other most memorable episodes involved a brother and sister Sith duo that strongly reminded me of Kill la Kill in terms of animation and body language. The other, from Science Saru, aesthetically reminded me of a mix between Kaiba and Astro Boy, as a droid was being raised like a child by a powerful but old Jedi. I should also mention the final episode reminds me of Akira Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress. I didn't care much for that episode, but I thought it was appropriate how they referenced the classic movie, considering George Lucas credited it as partially inspiring him to create the original Star Wars movie. I know samurai and Jedi are very similar to each other, but Hidden Fortress is about a samurai guiding a princess through enemy territories while they're being followed by 2 comedic relief characters, which probably sounds familiar. Overall, I found these shorts enjoyable, but I think a Star Wars anime should be much better than what we got. I give Visions a 7 out of 10. I felt the experience favors modern Star Wars fans more than it does die-hard anime fans, but it is something that I'd consider enjoyable for most people, but just not something spectacular for any specific audience. Suppose you're a Star Wars fan who's new to anime. In that case, I recommend Battleship Yamato 2199 if you want intense space battles, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the holy grail of anime that's also a space war epic with loads of strategic space battles. What did you think of Star Wars Visions? Like the video if you enjoyed it, and share with a friend who likes Star Wars but needs some anime in their life, because my goal is to help people find good anime. Thanks to Nia-chan and all monthly supporters on Patreon and YouTube for making these videos possible, and I'll see you later today with Aho Girl.